Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your May Soul session. I'm Princess India if you're new, and if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and whatnot, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, anywho, let's go ahead and jump into your cards, Gemini. I guess I can tell you guys happy early birthday, right? Because the midpoint of May, it's going to be you guys' season, depending on when you watch this. So, happy early birthday, Gemini. I'm a Gemini rising, by the way. Anywho, moving right along. We're going to go ahead and jump into you guys' cards. We're going to be looking at an overall energy. Okay, did that card turn backwards? Okay, it did. All right. We're going to be looking at an overall energy. I'll take the one right behind it as our challenge. And then we're going to be getting into a more specific spread for you all for the month of May to see what is going on with you all and whatnot or whatever. So let's go ahead and hop right in. So the card that turned over is the Four of Wands. So literally, I mean, much like how I was saying for Taurus, I mean, if you watched it, if you have that in your chart, but you guys are coming into a season of stability, happiness, and harmony. Some of you may be moving house or, purchasing a home. Congratulations to you. I heard the market is something crazy right now. But anyway, this also can very much speak to the fact that you guys are, coming out of the dark time of your 12th house and sadness before your birthday and coming into your birthday season. In a more, mundane general sense, some of you guys may be actually getting married, or you may know someone who's getting married. And I heard June, but I mean, it's May, but June comes after May. So maybe you know someone who's getting married in June, or you're getting married in June. If so, congratulations. Either way, if you're going to a wedding, enjoy yourself. It's fun. Enjoy the food. Anyway, moving right along. But you guys are going to be in a season of stability. I feel the need to say, and this is just what I'm picking up intuitively. By nature, I want to say security and stability, but I'm being told to not say security, but just the stability part. And I feel that's more or less just because my assumption would be there's natural ups and downs. You know what I mean? And security is something that has to be built up over time because they're different contextually, but most certainly stability. But security is something you guys are going to be building up to. But all in all, I do feel that the month of May is going to be a pretty stable month for you guys. And I do feel heavily, for whatever reason, it's even if it's just your birthday, it's coming into like a new season or a new chapter. So it's crossing a proverbial threshold, if you will. Now, the challenge for the month, interesting, is the Six of Cuppies. And what I am hearing specifically, the challenge this month is going to be overcoming your past. And that may not necessarily be like, sad, depressed things, but I feel it more in the context of letting go. So I see this more or less, Gemini, as a transition that you guys are going through. So it's more or less like how I said, crossing this proverbial threshold. You guys are crossing this threshold into a new season, a new cycle, a new chapter into your life for, whatever reason. And it's more or less, I'm not going to say need to, it would behoove you all to release whatever this is past tense, because like I said, there is a transition. So you're going from one state of being into another. And even though there may be emotional ties with whatever the past thing is that you're graduating from, that must be overcome, because I feel taking that with you, and follow me when I say this, like taking it with you, this is going to get dark really quick. It's almost like the equivalent of carrying like a corpse on your back. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be like that initially if you carried it over the threshold with you, but that's what it would become over time. You know what I mean? So it's kind of whatever this is you guys are leaving behind, it's almost like it's with you in spirit, or in memory, but to take that with you takes it out of alignment and causes it to start to like decompose. I know that sounds so weird, but I'm describing it from what it is that I'm seeing, because like how I'm seeing it is almost like a portal. So I don't know, like the vibe it's giving me, and I don't know if maybe this is like a movie or something, But the vision that I'm seeing is like a portal, and Gemini like running and like holding hands with someone, and Gemini goes halfway through the portal but the person pulls back, and you're like, what are you doing? Come on, the portal's about to close, like we have to come through, and the person's like, I can't come with you, and it's like, why? You know what I mean? So, and the thing that I'm seeing is if Gemini tries to pull this person through, as soon as you pull them through, it's like the person's hand starts to like age and decompose and turn to ash and wither away. You know what I mean? So it's made very clear to you that whatever this is, it can't come with you into this, through the portal into this new state that you guys are moving into. Now, what that is specifically for each of you is going to be something different. And the other thing I'm getting a flash of is almost like a teddy bear. That's symbolic. I don't think it's anyone's literal teddy bear, but it's like symbolic. It's almost like starting kindergarten. Like, you have a stuffy, and it's like going to your first day of kindergarten and trying to bring the stuffy in with you. And like the teacher takes it from you and hands it to like your parents or whatever, because it's like you're going to big boy or big girl school, so you can't take the stuffy with you type of thing. That's kind of the energy that I'm feeling overall. So like I said, this can be related to, just you guys having a solar return and becoming another year older. And for others of you, I really feel it's actually like a step that you're making, whether, it's moving, buying your first house, buying your first car, getting married, or I mean, I can even see where how I was saying, if you were going to a wedding, this could be something where if it's a sibling that's getting married, and they're like younger than you, or if it's your best friend that's getting married, that's a huge transition, because if you never got married yet and your best friend got married, it's like your lives are going to change. So the way that your best friend showed up in your life at, one point in time, they're not going to be, not saying they're not going to be your friend anymore, but say like, how your friendship is shifts, because that happens when you end up getting married. So it's more or less having a sense of gratitude and thankfulness for what things have been up into this present moment, and accepting this transition and kind of going into the new cycle, open-hearted and ready for the new challenge, if that's making sense. Now, getting into you guys' specific spread, your central energy that's representing you in the month of May. Okay. We have the star card. That's Aquarius energy. Okay. Your past influence is the King of Pentacles in the reverse. Interesting. Your hidden influence is the Ace of Swords. I'm here for it. Your potential outcome, interesting, is the Justice in the reverse. And that's interesting. And then what to look out for moving forward. Oh, wow. Not the Antichrist. We have the Hierophant in the reverse. Oh, this is an interesting combination here. Much like what happened with Taurus, I want to clarify this King of Pentacles to make sure if this is a person or not, or if we're just talking about the energy of the King of Pentacles. So bear with me just one moment while I clarify this, because the first thing that comes to mind for me about this, like what I pick up intuitively, which I mean could be applied to a person, but it feels very financial. So like not being a good steward of finances, it's very much the vibe of a person who is responsible for money or for people, provisions, resources, and kind of squandering them and not making the most of them. So it's being in a position of authority and not doing right by said position. But I want to make sure that this is not representing Gemini. It may not, because, it's Pentacles. That's Earth energy. Okay, what is this King of Pentacles in the reverse about? Okay, let's take that one. Wow, that's so weird. Okay. That came out for Taurus. That's interesting. So, yeah, Gemini, I mean, some of you guys may feel like, I mean, if it resonates, it resonates. For some of you guys, this could be a person with this appreciation card coming out. For me, I really feel like this is more or less speaking to a pattern of behavior that Gemini may have been fraternizing with in the latter part of April. It's not really appreciating what one has. And I'll tell you guys what I told Taurus, and I'll link it below for you guys. For those of you who are on my Patreon or are members on She-Do Society, I would go take a gander at the weekly for the week of the 20th, I believe. The week of the full moon. Look at that weekly soul session, because I went more in depth on this energy signature I'm seeing for the collective that's happening. And it has a lot to do with us being, appreciative of what it is that we have and not desiring a state, place, or time different than this one. So seeing this in your past influence, Gemini, brings me back to our overall energy and what I was talking about with the Six of Cups of overcoming the past. There is some sort of shift or transition that's happening for Gemini in the month of May. And I feel coming into the month with this energy can kind of set you up for the okie doke to be in a headspace or an energy to where you're kind of dwelling on what was. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I can see what my guides are saying with having the stability, I mean, having the security, you know what I'm saying? But not the stability, but not having the security. You know what I'm saying? Because security is like assurance, like everything is good, everything is going to be fine type of deal. You know what I mean? But things are stable. So things in your life are Gucci. You may not perceive them that way, but things are Gucci. Things are very much in your favor. But yeah, literally, you wouldn't be seeing it that way because it would be desiring for a time different than this one. So it's kind of coming into what would be a blessing, looking at this star that's representing you. That's like wishes fulfilled, best card in the tarot, all the things, right? Having the potential and opportunity to align with your truth, your highest version, your grandest desire, whatever it is you want to draw into your life, being able to come into a place of ultimate balance, like walking the middle path, if you will. And this is very similar to what the energy signature that I was seeing play out in Taurus. So it's really about the headspace. So I said to Taurus that it's being offered a clean slate, right? It's like you have a ginormous farm. All of the ground is like tilled and everything. The only thing that you have to do is go plant the seeds. Like that's your only job. And no one is even telling you what seeds to plant. But the issue with that is if you're coming into an energy such as this of having fertile ground to plant, but you're planting deficit seeds or poisonous seeds, that's not going to behoove you. And I see it as not necessarily being mindful or present, right? Because having one's headspace desiring a time other than the present moment, even if you had the intention on planting the good seeds, because you're not being conscious and present of what's actually happening around you, you could proverbially pick up the wrong seeds and plant the wrong seeds because you're not being present in the moment. So I feel what this is saying in so many words, Gemini, that if we talk about specifically in the latter part of April, there could be some insight that has come to you in reference to this, specifically around the Scorpio full moon, which was on, I believe, the 23rd of April, where it could have been like a aha that you got in reference to this. But much what I was describing with this King of Pentacles in the reverse of a person who has been blessed with something, right? It's something that has been, given to you, something you were a steward of. It could be your paycheck from your job. It could be your good health. It could be your car. It could be your home. It could be your kids. It could be your partner. It could be a myriad of different things. But it's something that, you've been given charge over, and it's not being a good steward of said thing. Now, the easiest thing for me to stick with that I can use as an illustration so I don't lose you guys could be being a good steward of your finances, right? Regardless of what your salary is every year, or if working hourly, it doesn't matter. You're getting tips, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that you have money that's coming in, and how it is that you're allocating. Of course, my computer wants to be a jerk now. Of course it would do that. My computer just be so mean. See, for Taurus, it did so well, and Gemini is hating on y'all. Oh my goodness. Okay, Gemini, give me a second. I apologize for this. This did not happen with Taurus. Give me a second, Gemini. Let me see. Okay, hold on. Bear with me, Gemini. Let me get my my visual back. I think we're good. Okay. I need to bite the bullet and buy a new computer, guys. I got my computer fixed and it's still doing the same thing. My apologies, Gemini. But anywho, let me see. Okay, I think I'm recording. Okay, I'm not talking to myself. Okay. All right, so we're good. So anywho, going back to what I was saying. So with this King of Pentacles in the reverse with the appreciation card, I was saying it's more or less like being in a position to where, you're a steward or something, like your finances. And regardless of how much money it is that you make, it's you having the money but not allocating it properly, right? Or being fixated on how much you should be making. And if you were in another state, I'd be making this amount of money. And like, oh, this person, they make more than me. You know what I mean? It's not having a sense of gratitude for what it is that you have now, or not appreciating what it is that you have now. And mind you, a disclaimer to this is not to say that when you are grateful for what it is that you have, it doesn't mean that you don't desire more, because if you desire to make more, then by all means, yes, you can desire to make more, but it's more or less being a good steward of finances, hypothetically, if that's what it is that we're talking about. So it's really any resource. It's the same with your physical body, right? It's making sure that you aren't, under eating, you're not overeating. It's making sure that, you're going to the doctor, you're getting checkups, you know what I mean? You're checking on your teeth, you know what I mean? Like, you're being a good steward of whatever it is that you are in possession of, like your car, making sure you get an oil change, washing your car, keeping it clean, you know what I mean? So there's an energy coming into the month of May where there is things that you're in charge of. There are things that you are a steward of, but in some sense or another, it's not necessarily appreciating what you have. And it's almost like coveting, if you could say it that way. It's like coveting something that, and I've talked about this a great deal last month. It's coveting either something someone else has, or like I said in the weekly, it could potentially be coveting a future version of yourself, right? Like, oh, once I finish school, I'll be making this amount of money, but it's like my life just sucks now type of vibe, right? So it's more or less saying to be grateful for what it is that you have, but it's simultaneously saying that there's nothing wrong with desiring more, but it's imperative to be a good steward over what it is that you have now. And why I say that is because, just because your circumstances change, if your mindset is still the same, then nothing's really going to change. So if a person mismanages their finances when they have a little bit of money, then when you have a lot of money, you're still going to continue to mismanage your finances. It's like if you live beyond your means, making $20,000 a year, you will live beyond your means when you're making $200,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. But the thing that's interesting here, like I said, with the whole thing with the planting seeds and things, that's similar to Taurus is the fact of what the star representing you guys in the month of May. It's saying to me, you guys have a clean slate. Whatever it is that you're desiring at present, it can most certainly be yours. Now, why I feel that this is coming up, because this says to me, especially in accordance with your challenge being the Six of Cups, and I was saying, overcoming the past, and forgive me if I'm repeating myself at all, because I tinker with the computer. But anyway, but the whole thing is with this is overcoming the past, like almost like a quiet acceptance, if you will, that this particular past season, time frame, connection with your best friend, whatever the case, that it's shifted and it's changed, right? But coming in with this energy, I feel kind of puts you guys in a vulnerability in a sense, because I feel this energy with the King of Pentacles in the reverse could act as a potential block, like this, lack of gratitude or lack of appreciation for what it is that you do have, right? Even if we look at it as the contrast between stability and security, and that would be a perfect example to me, because in an ideal world, we want both. We want stability and we want security at the same time. But if at this, particular season in our life, we only have the stability, but we don't have that security. And I don't know why this is coming to my mind of like if a person got put out of their house and a friend allows you to crash on their couch, that would be stability, right? Not an idealistic form of stability, but it's stability because you have a place to come to, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep every night. But is that security? No, because you don't know if in the next week your friend is going to get tired of you being there. You don't know if in the next week, your friend might ask you to pay like couch rent. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't offer security, but it's stability. Like the energy I'm seeing is allowing that lack thereof of security to rob you of said stability. So it's like, I'd rather go sleep on the street than go sleep on my friend's couch, when there's the potential, not the guarantee, but there's the potential that a week from now they might change their mind or might ask me for rent, when in reality your friend may never ask you that. You know what I'm saying? And you may not realize that you had security in that situation in hindsight after you've been there for a year and your friend never asked you for rent and your friend never put you out. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the kind of situation that we're coming into. But why that's important with the star card, because these are stark contrasts from each other. This is pretty much saying, like, you have the world in your hands in a sense. Anything that you're desiring or wanting or have been wanting up to this point, it is here for you now. Your wish is very much fulfilled. I talked about this in the reading that I'm going to link below as well. It's just the fact that when we are attached to an outcome, a lot of times we can block our blessings, because the very thing that you're asking for could be standing right in front of your face. And with the star card, I believe it is, but I feel it's the fact that you're not seeing it, which drops us down into our hidden influence being the Ace of Swords. So in so many words, this is like a mental breakthrough or clarity or a truth that is real, is in existence, is here. But with it being in your hidden influence, it's like I could really look at it as the star card. Like the star card and the Ace of Swords are synonymous with each other. But this is like I was saying, you having this awesome blessing standing in your face, but you don't see it as that. And why would Gemini not see it as that? It would be because of this King of Pentacles and the reverse type of mentality. You know what I mean? Because one may have had expectations and thought that when you got to this particular juncture, or when your best friend got married, or, whatever the case, that when this thing came, that it was going to look a certain way, right? That would even bring us to the Six of Cups here, because this would say a past tense you created this vision in your head of what this proverbial Four of Wands, would look like. And now that you're here, it doesn't look like that, right? Like this can't be my Four of Wands, right? Because it only has stability. It doesn't have security. So this can't be it, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, and this is funny, I used to joke about this many years ago. I said it's the equivalent of, you praying to spirit for a cashmere sweater, right? And you're like, oh, spirit, I really, really want like this pink cashmere sweater, right? You come home one day and there's a package on your porch. And when you open it, it's a salmon colored, cashmere sweater. And it's the equivalent of, being like, oh my gosh, God doesn't love me. God doesn't answer my prayers. I specifically asked for pink, and, Spirit sent me salmon. And it's, tossing it to the side and being like, ugh, gross. Like, what is the point of any of this? What is my life? I never get what I ask for. You know what I'm saying? So I know that sounds super crazy, but that's literally the point. It's the thought of wanting it a particular way, but not seeing in the bigger scheme of things, if we go deeper with this, that maybe it's the lighting in the room that you're in, to where, that pink looks salmon, but it actually is pink, but you've just completely tossed it out. You feel what I'm saying? And that takes us to this justice in the reverse and the potential outcome. So what this is saying to me, Gemini, is, Alexa, sorry. Alexa's telling me to take my trash out. But anywho, what this would be is really, Alexa? Princess India, here is your reminder. Girl, I know. Take the trash out. I know, girl. Anyway, but what this would be is in the latter part of May, it's feeling like this is hella unfair, right? So I honestly feel, Gemini, in the month of May, what it is you guys have been praying for, desiring, wanting is going to come into your life, right? But this particular mentality that you guys may walk into May with, or this behavior, this perception, this mindset, you know what I mean? Coming into May with that energy can potentially act as a block, to where it's literally like covering one eye. The thing that you want is standing right here, but because it's blocking this eye, you're only seeing like 50% of it. And because you're not aware of this, you're judging it just from this, like a skewed vision. And you're like, ugh, this is so unfair. Why would this happen to me? Because you're not looking at the bigger picture. And I feel even more so going back to that example of like being put out, right? And a friend offering their couch to you, right? That is the stability, but it's not security. But just tossing it out altogether and kind of falling into this mindset of how unfair this is. But I have to stress how important this is, because I think if any other card other than the star was in this central energy, I would be like, oh yeah, be kind of cautious, be leery, because, this could be like a trap, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't settle for less than you deserve. You feel what I'm saying? If it was any other card but the star. But with the star being here, this card represents your soul. Like, whatever this thing is, it is very much what it is that you have been desiring. I just feel it hasn't come in the package that you expected. It's ordering something from Amazon and, the package looking trash and like all dank and stuff, right? But what's inside of the package is perfectly fine, but it's throwing the whole thing away because you don't like the package that it's in. You feel what I'm saying? And the package was only there for the purpose of transporting the product that you ordered. You're not keeping the box. The box isn't a part of the product, right? It's just the receptacle to transfer the product to you, but it's getting hung up on that and throwing the whole thing away, Now, when we're getting into our position of what to look out for with the Hierophant and the reverse here, this is very much pointing back to this Ace of Swords and the hidden influence. It's more or less you're being given an opportunity to almost have an epic aha moment, or to really graduate a little bit. I talked about this with Taurus as well, a contrast between overstanding and understanding, right? Like, understanding something is a very superficial level. It's one side of the coin. To overstand it is to get 360 degrees versus 180. You know what I mean? So it's like, I understand this whole thing. This Hierophant in the reverse for me is speaking to an old mindset, right? It's this Six of Cups. It's once upon a time, you set this thing in your head and you felt that it should, ought, or supposed to be this way. This is the way this is supposed to play out. right? This is how this is supposed to happen. This is how this person is supposed to approach me. This is how people are supposed to behave. Why are they not doing the thing that I'm expecting them to do? The thing that really needs to be questioned here is that expectation or that belief or that bias, right? Because I feel if another person were to look at your situation, whatever this is, a person's perception of this would be like, dang, Gemini's being hella ungrateful. But I find this fascinating because I'm saying, Gemini, I don't think by any means that you guys are being like a spoiled brat. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I totally asked for hanging in salmon, like the audacity. Like, I don't feel you guys are in that type of energy. I feel almost as if it's like Gemini being a victim to this mindset, right? But I tread lightly with that because, once again, with the star being here, with the Ace of Swords being here, this is speaking to personal accountability. So that's saying to me, if you really took a step back and got out your feelings, you could really see this situation the same way that I'm seeing it. You could have overstanding in this situation. But the thing that can prevent you from having that is getting all in your feelings, getting all in your head and being like, this is not what I asked for. You know what I mean? And getting caught up in that. But this is an opportunity for you to almost receive two gifts, if we could say it that way. It's you getting what it is that you really desire and also having an epic mental breakthrough to where it's like you're ascending to another level of consciousness. And I don't just mean this in the woo-woo sense, right? And I can say this to all of you. Because I mean, if you're here watching my channel, you're really into personal development. You know what I'm saying? So if you think back, over the course of your life and say maybe something like relationships, if you think about a person that you were dating and they were a shit human being, right? And now when you think back at that, you're like, oh my gosh, how was I so stupid? How did I not see that? Like, oh my goodness, like, let's just not talk about that. And it can be like a funny thing to you kind of now. It's like, I was so young and, naive. I had no idea this person was running circles around me, right? But once upon a time, you were very much caught up in that situation and you thought this person was the end all be all and I'll never love again and I'll never know what it's like to ever feel this again. But now at this present moment, you no longer feel that and you would never fall for all of the okie dokes that you fell for with this particular person. If you think back to the day that you had that aha moment when you realized this ain't it, right? Like this is not what love is. This is not what I want. And you finally had that epiphany and you walked away from that situation. When I talk about ascending to another level, I'm talking about something like that day when you finally get it. You know what I mean? Or even if it's in your own personal development, that day when you were in therapy and you finally had that mental breakthrough and you were like, oh my gosh, I am dating my mother. I am dating my father. Like I see it. You feel what I'm saying? I'm codependent. Like the day that you had that big epic epiphany, there's an opportunity for this while simultaneously getting what it is that you've been wanting for a very long time. And I feel in order for this thing to be maintained and to not be sabotaged, you need that sense of clarity. Because I feel with this, there's the potential where you will either neglect this thing, like you will get this blessing and you will neglect it the way that you have neglected things in the past. You know what I'm saying? Or there's the potential that you'll reject it altogether. You know what I mean? And I mean, we're not going to project that into the future of the fact that, time could come that the clarity, you get it. And then when you look back at this becomes the, oh my goodness. Cause I feel like that's the energy that Taurus has in their hidden influence with the 5 of Cups, where it's like, oh, the thing that I had and I let it go and it's gone now. And oh, I wish I could go back to that time and I can't enjoy things because I squandered this, right? Like you guys aren't in that place. You have the opportunity to have this clarity now, but it's going to require you to be personally accountable. And like I said, with the Hierophant in the reverse, it's potentially a belief or an expectation that you've had for a really, really long time that's going to have to die in order for you to have this. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times there are beliefs and expectations that we have that are outdated and thus now maladaptive. They're not really in service to us anymore. They've now become a glass ceiling, and they end up becoming the main thing that is keeping us away from what it is that we're truly wanting or desiring. And I feel for you guys, that's what this King of Pentacles in the reverse is. And my guys are telling me, I also have to say, justice, of course, is Libra energy. I don't think I said that. Okay, maybe that's why they're telling me that. Because my guides are saying about me mentioning Taurus, like, and they're saying it differently than what I was saying. I was mentioning Taurus because the energy signature reminds me of Taurus's reading. But the thing they're pointing out to me is the shadow aspects of Taurian behavior. And both this King of Pentacles as well as this Hierophant in the reverse, because both of these cards, of course, are speaking to Taurus energy. So literally, I mean, I'm already making a worksheet for Taurus on the heart chakra. So I mean, I could throw this on a worksheet for you guys as well. But if you want more clarity and insight into the potential behaviors that this might be speaking to, it would be the shadow aspects of Taurus. You know what I'm saying? Like the less than stellar characteristics of Taurus. And this could be, you know, money hoarding behavior. It can be overindulgence. But the thing I'm looking at in addition to that, which is going to be a little mini research project for me after I record this, and I'll, you know, report it back to you guys with this little worksheet, is looking at, with justice being Libra, and looking at the fact that Taurus as well as Libra are ruled by Venus. Like, this may be a whole Venetian thing. You know what I'm saying? Looking at the less than stellar attributes of Venetian energy. You know what I mean? And a lot of that can be possessiveness. You know what I mean? Overindulgence, most certainly. Indecisiveness, you know, things of that nature. But I mean, in the meantime, in between time, until y'all get that worksheet, depending on when you watch this, you guys can potentially Google that, but I'll compile kind of like a list for you guys, just so it can kind of act as, you know, like a starting point for some self-reflection for you guys. And I'll even give you some journal prompts in reference to that as well. But that's what all of this is speaking to. I feel it's kind of like, it's not like a personality trait. It's almost like, I don't know. I'd have to just say it as a behavior, because it feels kind of like a bad habit. I feel like this is kind of something that Gemini has been doing for some time, and people may not have called you out on it. You know what I'm saying? So no one's ever said anything about it and been like, oh my gosh, Gemini, like, you are so, you know, and I'm just going to say this for an example. It's like, oh my gosh, Gemini, you are so ungrateful. It's like, no matter what, you know, someone does for you, you're always finding something wrong with it, right? And I'm not saying that's literally what the thing is, but just as an example, like, say all of your friends just never felt comfortable enough to say that to you, or somebody tried one time and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not like that. I would never do that. You know what I mean? And people were just like, fine, I'm gonna leave it alone. And, you know, you're just going through life. No one's ever saying anything about it. So you've never, you know, like, how else would you know? You know, it's like, if you don't see anything wrong with being this particular way, no one's ever called you out on it, then when would you ever have time to kind of sit back and self-reflect on it? But I do feel something about that has shifted. So it's either something in your life or someone's life in, like, around you, that has shifted to where things are different, to where this particular thing is, you know, this less than stellar behavior or ineffective behavior, however you want to look at it, is coming to the forefront. But like I said, with the justice in the reverse being the outcome, that's saying that there is the potential, if Gemini isn't personally accountable and isn't self-honest and doesn't do some self-reflection in reference to this, or ask your bestie, like, you know, do you feel like I'm a little, you know, bossy or controlling or whatever, like whatever the behavior is, you know what I'm saying? it is the potential that you could come out of this month where this month was an intention to be a blessing for you. Whereas you could end this month going into your birthday season feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so unfair. Like, this is so not right. But it's being biased because you're really not seeing the whole picture. And if someone heard you tell the story and you explain it, they'd look at you like raised eyebrow, like, what? You know what I'm like? Do you hear yourself? You feel what I'm saying? So I know that this can be kind of tricky, Gemini. I hope and pray you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, which is why, like I said, I'm gonna give you guys the worksheet for this, because I can't pinpoint and say what it is, because I know for each of you it's gonna be something different, but I know for sure it is a behavior or behavior pattern or like an attitude, a perception or belief or an expectation that you have that's kind of out of alignment. And I just don't feel like you've been kind of called out on it. And I feel expectation feels in the neighborhood of a more comfortable thing for me. You know what I mean? Like with the best friend thing, like your best friend gets married and it's like, I expect my best friend to, and of course you wouldn't be saying this because this is an expectation. So it's like a part of you. So it's like you and your best friend have hung out every single, weekend since the beginning of time, right? And then for the first time, the weekend after your best friend gets married, she says that she can't hang out. And you're like, why can't you hang out with me? And it's like, well, because like I'm married. And it's like, okay, so we've never not hung out. Like we've never not done this. Like this is our thing. Like I was looking forward to this. Like how could you not hang out with me? Like just because you're married? Now, like, are you serious? You know what I mean? And I know that's a crazy example because most people would be like, no, I'd totally be understanding of my best friend being married. But I'm saying that as an example, it's like, that sounds asinine, but I feel like with whatever this is, if another person heard this story, they would feel the same way. It's like, that's asinine to have that. Like, how could you expect that of someone? And it's like, oh my gosh, like, how could I not? Like, you're my best friend. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, that's what we've always done. Like, why is this changing up now all of a sudden? You know what I mean? So it does feel to me also kind of in the arena of a little selfish, little self-centered, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But again, I don't blame you, Gemini, because I mean, this is something I feel like we all go through. That's the reason why we need those aha moments and epiphanies and good friends that call us out on our shit. Because when we're doing things, we feel very much justified in what we're doing because it makes sense. It's like, why wouldn't I be upset? Like, that's selfish as hell. Like, that would be our perception. But when another person gives us their perspective on it, and we're a self-reflective person, we could be like, oh, I never looked at it like that. That's why I always, teach these lessons to you guys using analogies. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes seeing it from another perspective, you're like, oh, okay, I didn't see it like that, So I feel like it's an opportunity to have that. So this month is a good month. Like, don't get me wrong. This is a really great way to start your birthday season. But this is kind of like, and is not is paradigm a little bit. You know what I mean? And this is a part of yourself, like I was saying with that whole portal vision that I was getting, or the teddy bear, right? This chapter that you're coming into now, Mr. Teddy can't come, right? Whoever this person is you're trying to pull through the portal can't come. They've served their purpose for what they did in this last cycle. And now it's time to, surrender that, to sacrifice that so that you can move forward, because this shift has to happen, right? And even if that looks in the context of, stability with no security, So I hope and pray that that makes sense, Gemini. You guys most certainly let me know what you think in the comments. Keep an eye out for those worksheets, because most of you guys know whenever I give you guys a little worksheet, I'm going to make an announcement about it on the community tab. So keep your eye out for that. But as always, I love your freaking face, Gemini. Happy early birthday and whatnot, or whatever. Happy solar return. And I will see you guys